I'm Jason Ascher, makeup artist in residence for Barneys, New York. And this is Jessica Lloyd Mandelbaum, a client and former bride. We did her wedding last year, and I thought she'd be a fantastic model to show you some techniques and products that I use for brides to make that special day a little prettier. I think what a bride wants to ask when she's inquiring about bridal makeup is to make sure that the artist understands she wants to look like herself, but the best possible version. I'm using Armani's Light Master Primer, and I'm applying that with Chanel's foundation brush, starting at the center of the face and on the cheeks and forehead and chin and blending outward. It depends on the client sitting in front of me and the texture and tone of their skin, but I've really started enjoying using the new Armani Master Foundation. I like to use as little foundation as possible, so I find if I start in the center of the face and just work outward, I can then build it from there. For powder, I use the Cogendo translucent press powder, and I find that it just sets the makeup, it brightens the makeup a little bit without looking matte or flat or chalky. I very much like using hourglass brushes for my larger brushes, whether it's blush or powder. Again, I lay it on the nose and cheek and then dust the forehead, dust the chin, and work outward from there. So I never have a face full of product. Before I do the eyes, I always like to focus on brows because it sort of sets the frame. I think it's probably the second most important part of makeup, besides having your skin be even and clear, is having a good defined brow. I love the Bobbi Brown tinted brow gel because it's coloring the hair rather than coloring the skin, so you never feel like you have a penciled in or filled in look. I follow the shape of the brow bone. I don't cheat eyebrows upward. I don't fake an arch where an arch shouldn't be. I usually will prime the eye with some sort of shadow base or eye primer to usually diffuse any redness, to create a great binder for the eyeshadow to then be applied on top of. My primer of choice is By Terry's Hyaluronic Eye Primer. It's in 3 shades, so it's very easy to match just about anybody. And it has just a really beautiful cushion of water in it. You can feel the coldness when you put it on your skin. I usually use my ring finger or my concealer brush. I think concealer brush can really do double duty in that respect. I'm using Chantecaille's combination of Chantecaille's Rose Gold and Marigold eyeshadows. One is sort of a really beautiful golden rose, and the other shade is more of a kind of a pink nude. And I'll use a number of different base shadow brushes depending on the client I have in front of me and what the shape of their eye was, but I very frequently find myself using the Hourglass number 3. I think it's a really great shape. The third eyeshadow I'm using is Chantecaille's Patchouli eyeshadow, which is a really beautiful shade of taupey heather. I'm applying the patchouli eyeshadow in a V formation to the outside corner and the outside crease of the eye, and then carrying it through with a blender brush and diffusing it into the base colors that I placed on before. I'm using Chantecaille's water resistant eye pencil in Jet. I find that it's water resistant and has a really good lastability, but it's easily blendable. While I'm applying it, I can still move it. I'm going over the eyeliner with a powder shadow and then blending it out with an eyeliner brush to set the pencil and to also soften the line down and draw it out slightly. I take a sponge and maybe some makeup remover if necessary and clean up under the eye any shadow that might have fallen, any particles of mascara. My favorite mascara is Armani Eyes to Kill. I haven't run into a product I'd like better than that yet. It's just a beautiful beeswax-based formula that stays creamy and rich. It's never too wet. I can always pull out a really beautiful lash without clumps. I'm using By Terry's Touch Expert Concealer in 2 shades. I have shade number 1 and shade number 2. One's a little bit pink peach, the other one's more of a neutral natural sand. I apply that to the inside of the nose and the area just under the eye, using a concealer brush and my ring finger. Just want to minimize any darkness, minimize any redness. I'm using Bobbi Brown's Sheer Color Cheek Tint in Nude Beach. It's the perfect shade of coppery rose and a very clear texture. I'm using the Chantecaille Baleine Blanche, which is just a beautiful champagne colored highlighting powder, just to set the cream blush that I'm laying on Jessica's cheek and to add just a touch of light. I'm using Armani's Rouge Ecstasy lip color in Milano, which is a beautiful shade of neutral, kind of a neutral petal rose. The texture of this new Rouge Ecstasy is great because it seems to stay on really beautifully, but it doesn't have a matte finish. It has a really nice luminous shine to it. And I follow it up with Kevin Aucoin's medium lip pencil, which is the perfect nude pencil. It's not too brown, it's not too pink, it's not too rose or too beige, it's right in the middle. And I find that it works with practically every neutral lip color because it's the color of lip lines. I'm moving on to Chantecaille Fig Lip Gloss. Lay it a little bit on my hand, and I'm placing it on Jessica's lip because I don't want it to be too high shine. I don't want it to be dated looking or overly shiny. Then I finish off the lip color with a small amount of concealer and the concealer brush, just to clean up the edges of the lip line. It's her skin, but it's the perfect version of her skin. It's her eyes, but it's the best shape and definition that her eyes can have. And it's her skin tone, but with a beautiful glow in the cheek and a soft tone on the lips.